Hey everyone, I'm James and this is Groovebox Music Theory. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to find the fifth to every note on the keyboard. Almost all of the most common chord types include the root, they all include the root, and most of them include the same note for the fifth. Whether it's major, minor, seventh, or a suspended chord, they're going to use the same root and five. So if you know your root and five, you need one more note to make any other major or minor chord, which I'll cover in the next video, and only two more notes to make any seventh or suspended chord. So this really sets you up for the future and is pretty crucial for the remaining lessons. That does mean that I recommend that you know the root and fifth for all of the chords in all of the songs that you're playing before you move on, just because the next videos are going to go pretty quickly because I'm going to assume that you already know these and you've already got them completely down. So I'm going to teach you the definition of a fifth, which is going to let you find the fifth every single time, and then I'll teach you a shortcut which will hopefully give you a way of kind of learning the distance without having to count every time. And my goal is that by combining these methods, you'll eventually not need either one and you'll just know the distance of a fifth. So let's go ahead and get to the keyboard to get started. First thing I want to cover is why is it called a fifth? And it's actually pretty simple. If you'll remember that all notes in the chord are based on the root note, and every note is named after one of the 7 white keys that repeat, think of the root as the 1, so in this case I'll say C is our 1, and let's count up letters. D is 2, E is 3, F is 4, and G is 5. That is our fifth. It can get a bit tricky if you're not sure about whether it should be sharp or flat or whatever, and I'll discuss that in a little bit, but just know that it's that simple. It's that if you count up just the letter names and you start with your root as 1, the fifth letter name in a row, or 4 after the root, is going to be your fifth. Next up, I want to show you a way of finding it and checking it and being sure by counting each key, not just the white keys, in between your notes. And then I'll tell you about a little bit of a shortcut that you can use until you get more comfortable and start using that first method just to check yourself. Again, starting with C as our root, I'm going to count every single black and white key. And I'm going to count up 7 after this. So you could think of this as 1 or 0 or whatever, but I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is the definition of a fifth. That works everywhere. You start at a note, and then you just count every single black and white key after it until you get to 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, in other words, there are going to be, if I take a guess, let's say I just try this, is this a fifth? Well, I could check now. And one way that you could check is you could just count the number of keys between your 1 and what you think the 5 is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is actually the 8th, which means that that's the fifth. We already knew that because it's C, but I hope that you understand how you would apply this in any context. The quicker way is if I take any white key, aside from B, so I'm talking about the white keys A, C, D, E, F, G, and A again, but not B yet. If I take any of those white keys, the fifth is going to be on another white key, and there will be 3 white keys in between them. So here's 1, 2, 3 in the middle. Here's my 5. Again, you could check it by just having those 3 white keys. And this works on any of these aside from B. And the reason for this is the way that the keyboard's laid out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, there's only 5 semitones in between this note and this note. I don't remember in this take if I clarified, but a semitone is any black or white key that comes after your key. So moving up a semitone just means that's 1 semitone. If I started from here, if I started from here again, that's 1 semitone. So again, if I take what you might think would be the B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it doesn't match our definition of that chord. So I would recommend using this method, and every time that you see a B, just playing the regular B. Now, there's a similar method for the black keys on this. So we're going to go, and we'll start with C sharp. If it starts on a black key that isn't this one, which is B flat or A sharp, so really the exceptions are B and B flat. If the root is on a black key and it's not B flat, then the fifth is also on a black key, and there will be two black keys in between them. This may seem a bit convoluted and a bit complicated, but my goal in teaching you this is so that way you have an easy way of figuring out what the rough distance is that's a fifth, so that your hand can get used to it on whatever instrument or keyboard that you're playing on. Because eventually, that will give you the ability to find your root, find your five, and then be ready to play whatever chord from there. So that's why it's nice to have this little shortcut as a way of figuring out those distances. So at first, I would play along and follow the regular progression that I've mentioned before, which I'll go over again in a second, and then I would add in playing just the B, just the root, and just the root of B flat before I got the hang of and really mastered all of the other fifths. So just for your reference, here are all the fifths on the white keys. And then for this B, the exception is that if it's B, it's F sharp is the fifth. So that is a black key. And again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's the seventh semitone after our root, and there are 6 semitones in between. Here are all the fifths of the black keys. So we've got F sharp, G sharp, well, F sharp or G flat, G sharp or A flat, and then we have our A sharp or B flat, which is one of our exceptions. So I'm actually playing an F natural here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the middle. Then we have our C sharp or D flat and our D sharp or our E flat. So those are all of the fifths. And then here they are all in a row. If I'm following along with some chord charts, note that it's still not going to sound quite like the original because we're just going to be playing the fifth. But I just want to show you how you would apply this. Let me pull up the chords for Bad Guy by Billie Eilish. So those chords are G minor, C minor, and D7. So let's find our roots. So F, G. How do we find our 5? Well, let me just use that shortcut. It's on another white key with 3 white keys in the middle. Here we go. There's our 5th there. If you wanted to check, you can make sure there's 6 semitones in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The next chord is C minor. So we've got our C. And then we have, let's just use the semitones method this time. Let's count up 7 after here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then the last chord is a D7, which in this case you could count through, or you could just think, well, it's just shifted 1 over. Both of them are just shifted 1 whole step up, which I'll get into that maybe another time. But for now, just know that those are the chords that you would play along with. So you'd have this G, C, and this D. And from here, you'd pretty much follow along the same way that I suggested before, where you would start off by just finding this chord and playing it and just making sure you know how to find the 5th for each root note, then trying to play it along to the original song, only with the key changes. Then I would say start trying to add some rhythmic variations with the power chord, and maybe even some single notes. So there's a lot of ways that you can kind of keep it interesting while still learning the concepts that I suggest you practice right now. Oh, and then after that, I would say play it in different octaves, just like before. One neat thing is let's go back to the song Truth Hurts by Lizzo. So this song, again, is just C major and A minor. But the cool part is that the only notes that are actually played by the keyboard are the 1 and the 5. So let's go ahead and find our C major. So we have our C, and here's that octave. And then if we go and find our 5, which is another white key with 3 white keys in the middle, those are the 3 notes that we need to know for the melody. And then here is the A minor part. So we have our A, so F, G, A. Find it another octave. 3 white keys in between these two. Or you could think of it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's the 7th semitone after that first note. And I would just play those individual notes, and that's going to give us most of Truth Hurts. Okay, so what happens if you play something different? Let's say that you see a C major chord, and you know that that's what's being played in the song. What if you play something else instead of that 5th? What if you play a different note? So if I know that a song is a C major chord, I do know, well here, let me put it here. I do know that I'm really safe if I play the C. It's going to sound fine. The G is also going to sound fine, and I can kind of blend in, right? It sounds fine. It doesn't create any tension, doesn't really release any tension, it just sounds fine. But music is really about creating tension, so you don't always want things to fit in. And so playing something other than the 5th happens all the time in popular music. In fact, it's really common to play the note 1 semitone down from the 5th. This is really popular in pop music, R&B, blues, hip-hop, metal, everything. And it happens in some of the examples that I've given here. So just for some context, if I play a C major chord, that's what it sounds like. So if I play the 1 and the 5, it'll sound fine. That flat 5 right there really stands out, and it kind of gives it this sort of air of intrigue. So in the song Bad Guy, this is what happens with the lead, that sort of lead melody throughout the song. We've got this, it just plays from the 1 to the 5, and then it occasionally, I mean there's more notes, but it also plays this flat 5, and it really stands out. Messed it up, but then it just moves here and does the same thing. So my point is that this is something that you hear a lot, and because it sounds kind of weird, but we're used to it, it happens all the time. Some genres take this to the extreme. So on the opposite end of the spectrum from pop, let's talk about the song Oppressor by Jesus Piece, which if I were to play it on keyboard, it's literally just an octave with that flat 5 in the middle. They don't play this 5th, but it sounds. And here we actually have a B, 3 white keys, and another white key. And remember, because B is one of the exceptions, this is the flat 5. Because if we wanted to play the 5, we would have to play this F sharp. So my point there is just to say that these are not rules. Again, they are just descriptions of what's happening. And so if you use those descriptions and your knowledge of them, you can figure out how to add some tension to the piece and give it kind of a weird feel by playing something other than the 5. All right, that's everything for the 5th. Next time I'm going to teach you about the 3rd, which will let you make every single major or minor chord on the keyboard. Until then, please let me know if you have any questions, and thank you for watching.